זכותה השם רחל אימנו. Tonight is the Hilula. Yud Aleph Cheshvan is the Hilula-Rachel Imenu. So always when we speak about the tzaddik or tzaddiket, always we take one quality of the tzaddik and we try to match up to it, right? He's teaching us, so we're trying to get close to the tzaddik. So Rachel Imenu, first of all, right? Yefat Toar v'Yefat Mari. She was beautiful, right? And that's why Yaakov was attracted to her. Says the Ramban. You're talking about a patriarch. You think Yaakov was attracted by the beauty of Rachel? He says no. The beauty that Yaakov saw in Rachel is one internal beauty. Her internal beauty was reflected by external beauty, right? And we see it by the case when she met Yaakov, they promised to get married. The father said, no, you're going to work for me 7 years. After 7 years, I'm going to give you Rachel. So she was waiting for 7 years. Him, vayu be'enav ke'amim achadim. It was for a few days for him, right? And what happens at the end? The night of the wedding, the father comes and makes a switch. Now, what's going to happen? Yaakov suspected the father is going to do that because it's this Lavan Aramai. So he told her, I'm going to give you 3 simanim. There's a big machloket. What were the simanim? Al pi Kabbalah, what were the simanim? She's supposed to touch his toe, his thumb, his toe, right? And his ear. Is right here. Where do we put the איפה שעושים לכהנים, you know, where the כהנים, למצורע, right? זה סימן, יש בזה הרבה סודות. שמים את הדם, את השמן למצורע. כן, ויזל, תנו חוזן ידו הימני, או הימנית, ועל בוין ידו הימנית, ועל בוין רגלו הימנית. He taught her this. Some say, no, you know what the siman was? You know what the siman? I'm gonna ask you, what's your name? And you're gonna tell me my name is Leah. Because if they're going to put Leah, automatically when I'm going to ask her what's your name, she's going to tell me my name is Rachel. I know they cheated. So the code is going to be the opposite. I'm going to ask you, what's your name? You're going to say Leah. So now Leah doesn't know all of this, right? And she comes in, and for sure Yaakov is going to find out. But if he finds out, Yaakov is going to get upset on her. And if he gets upset on her, she's going to be embarrassed, and everybody's going to bow about it. So Rachel says, you know what? I have no choice but to listen to my father. You know, in the olden days, everybody listened to their parents. You cannot say no to your parents. Even to this case, where the father, the night of your wedding, tells you you're not going to the chuppah with this guy. You're not going with him. And in this case, with this tzaddik, right? With a tzaddik, you're not going. Okay. The father said, but at least my sister shouldn't get embarrassed. She gave her over the simanim. V'ine baboker, v'ine hi leha. So he said, why did you cheat me? He said, why did I cheat? You asked me, what's your name? What did I say? Leah. Veine I Leah. She was Leah. I didn't cheat. Natna לה את זה, יפה. So, what do we learn from this? You know what we learn from this? Whoever gives up for others, if you mevater, if you give up for others, you're always going to get back from Hashem much more. How do we see it from this case? Look what happens. At the end of the day, he married Leah. The next week after, he got married to Rachel, but he had to work another 7 years. Right? And meanwhile, during those 14 years, he had 11 boys and 1 girl. Now, how did it happen? Leah, she was akara, she couldn't have children, but Hashem saw that Yaakov did not like what she did to him. Like she knew the simanim and she told him, הוא לא אהב את זה. וירא השם כי לאה שנואה. ויפתח את רחמה, he gave her to have children. So, she has the first child, Reuven. Few months later, 7 months later, Shimon. 7 months later, Levi. 7 months later, Yehuda. Ooh, thank you Hashem, because I know they were born 7 months. Because in few years they had to have a complete family, so as long as he doesn't have the full family, he cannot leave. So they made it fast. Hashem made it fast so that she can get out of it as fast as possible. Now, what's happening? They knew there are 4 ladies. Rachel, Leah, Zilpah, and Bil'ah. So it says, Rashi says, היה להם רוח הקודש, they knew that Yaakov is going to have only 12 children. So they said, 12 children, each one is going to have 3. So Leah, she had already 3. When she has Yehuda, it says, wow, Hashem, thank you. That's a bonus. Thank you, Hashem. When she said that, תעמוד מלדת. She couldn't have any more children. שאתה אומר, thank you, Hashem, יענו, thank you, and must speak. That's why when we say in the Amidah, what do we say? מודים אנחנו לך, על שחייתנו וקיימתנו, כן תחיינו. Thank you Hashem for giving me life, but Hashem don't stop there. תחיינו, continue giving me life. קיימתנו, I reached till today, but Hashem want to reach the other points also, right? אל תגיד thank you and I want more. מה קרה עכשיו? פתאום, she has more children. The שבחות had, she has Issachar, and she has Zevulun. Meanwhile, Zilpah had 2 kids, and Bil'ah had 2 kids. So you have 6 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2 and 2, 4. That's 10. Rachel, at the end, after 10 kids in the family, Rachel had Yosef. Now what happens? Leah becomes pregnant again. It's going to be only 12 children. So basically, she knows she has a baby boy. Right? Now, if she's going to have the baby boy, what's going to happen? Her sister has 7 kids. Bil'ah has 2 kids. Zilpah, 2 kids. And Rachel is less than Shefachot. She has 1 kid. So Leah said, you know what? She gave me the simanim. She didn't want me to get embarrassed. How can I make her embarrassed that everybody is going to say, you see, she got married first and she has only 1 kid. And her servants have 2 kids each. So Leah prayed, and she turned the baby into a girl.
Isn't that something we learned last week that we shouldn't do that?
You cannot do that after a certain, but over here it was a miracle. We learned this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Over here was a miracle that though the baby was already determined to be a boy, Hashem switched it into a girl. Now what happens? Rachel has another boy. So they have 6, 2, 2, 2. Now look what happens. Few years later, they come back to Israel. Unfortunately, the daughter of Leah, she gets abused by a goy. Right? Shechem. Shechem ben Hamor. Now what happens? The family is embarrassed with the baby. It's a girl, baby girl. They send her to Egypt, the baby girl. Where does she end up, this baby girl? She ends up, Dinah, where does she end up? In the house of Potiphar. Okay? Potiphar. 10 years later, right? Who ends over there? Yosef. He doesn't see Dinah. הוא לא רואה את דינה. הוא לא יודע שהיא קיימת אפילו. Because the woman attacks him the whole day. She's harassing him. The אשת פוטיפר, she's harassing him the whole day. Look at me, be with me. הוא לא רוצה להסתכל. He doesn't want to look at women. Okay? And he doesn't even see Dinah. She puts him into prison. Misken, he goes into prison 12 years. He comes out. Who does he marry? Dinah.
לא דינה,
אסנת, סליחה. אסנת. נכון? Look what happens. Yosef, if Rachel would not have given the simanim to Leah, right? מה היה קורה? Leah wouldn't pray for her baby boy to turn into a girl. Then Yosef would come to Egypt and we'd have only goyot. Wouldn't be any Jewish girls. Who would he marry? Who would he marry? His father came down only 9 years later.
אז רגע, יוסף התחתן עם אחותו?
עם בת אחותו. With his niece. Dinah is his niece.
הבת שלי.
Right? His niece. So look how Hashem, you gave up for your sister is going to give up for you, and you both of you are going to gain. What are you going to gain? The daughter of her married the son of her. And this is Rachel. להגיד לך, to tell you, to teach you. Rachel is teaching us, you give up, you never lose. When you give up for something, you never lose. להגיד לך, אף פעם לא מפסידים. ברוך ה' לעולם, אמן ואמן.